Welcome to Knackerbox Garage, a Scratchy Pants production. Okay, so a few grubby-handed pictures later, or moments later, here's the chain guard. It's tacked together. Let's put that on there. It's still a bit warm actually, but I tacked it on the bike. So it was sitting on the bike when I did it, and it's still warm, but it goes on. And I've picked up a magnet, one of those magnet clamps. Let's get rid of that. And we'll put that there. Yeah, so that goes on the other side, goes like that. So I'm rather happy with that. I just need to tig it in place. It obviously gets pinged back up here, so it's a little bit more in alignment. And then we've got to work on the curve. Got to make my little forky two fingers. And away we go. So I am just, as you can see, it's tacked, but not fully welded. So I'm just going to finish tigging around all the joints, and that'll be that. You've seen enough pictures of me welding, so you really don't need to see me do any more welding. But that's once I've got it finished and cleaned up, then we'll get back. So I don't know how this is gonna, whether you can see or not, but this is the tungsten out of my TIG welder. It's got to round it off. It's got very hot. I dipped it in the weld a couple of times, which is never that good. So before I start tigging, I've got to sharpen that with a point. And the best way to get a decent sharp point is to, and it's got to be concentric, is to put it in a drill. And then using a dedicated angle grinder with a dedicated wheel, a sharp point. Hopefully you can see that. A sharp point, so now that directs a better spark, arc, plasma, whatever you want to call it. Right, so we're just gonna tag up. This is more about a welding class than, or how not to weld, than motorcycle stuff, but you know, hey, it's all part of it. We're going to hold that. The reason I'm using copper sheet is it directs the heat away, so it doesn't damage my surface plate, and also it won't stick. If I get some weld onto the plate, it won't stick to it. In case you were wondering. Hit that, or did I? Oh, that's good. I just want to do the other side, which is going to be a tad tricky, but let's just... Come on, bugger. Too many things in my hand. Right, you see me well, I'll turn this off while I finish. Here we go, all welded up. It's going to leave the welds au naturel. I would pick it up in my hands, but it's still rather bloody hot, so I won't be. I'm next going to put it back on the bike, which will probably involve me going out and getting the correct nut and bolt for my 5/16 hole. So I may suck it up and do that. And then I'll bend the fork, I'll bend the fork, I'll put the rear piece in that comes down to about there, then I'll do the fork piece, and then we'll braze that on the end, and then it will get painted, and that will be it. The world's most indulgent chain guard will be finished. So I saved myself from going to the hardware store because I've got a bolt that actually works. It's the right diameter, it's the right length, does up nicely. So, yay! I'm loving this. I think this is looking really good. I like the little blobs on it. I like the way I've got the curve. I'm going to start doing the down curve here. And I'll probably want to go to there, and then I'll do my little two fingers guy. But that's where we are at the moment. Once I've got that, I need to round the end off up here. Yeah, really like that. Probably the most indulgent, I probably said that last time, the most self-indulgent chain guard that really won't do anything in the world. But, you know, hey, that's why we do it. All right, here it is in rough form, or unpainted form, with the finish. I don't know if you can see that easily, but it's the two fingers, English style. I just need to paint this piece. I'll mask off the top, and that's it. The end of the most indulgent chain guard in the world. That actually won't do anything. Right, spraying up the paint on the chain guard. I've masked off my carefully crafted forked end. I would go out and get the oil pan to start draining the gearbox oil, but it's raining out, so I'm not going to. And I don't know whether I can get to it easily. Oh, it's there. So it's that one. That one. This one's the indent, or the gear selector. There's a spring and a plunger which goes on the cam plate, which adjusts the gears in the gearbox. That's the drain plug. The one on the right, I don't want you to see it. I think I'm pointing to it there. As you can see, there's plenty of oil oozing around everywhere, so it's keeping it nice and rust free. And yeah, that's about it. I need to wash this off. I said that last time. I should also clean the pipes a bit, and we'll get some auto sol on those. These are some kind of aluminum powder coating. It's quite durable, although it's gone a bit rusty here, so maybe I will solvol those, but not today. Not today. I'm going to let the paint dry on the chain guard, give it another coat, and then that'll be it for the day. Right, just put another coat of paint on the swing arm chain guard. So now I'm looking at the gearbox drain plug, which is this. See if I can point with the spanner. Is that thing there? That thing that's touching. This is the indent. That's the plug. And what it looks like, if I get underneath, and I think you can see it, maybe, is should be like there. And again, we're looking at that thing. That's just a grub screw. Hasn't got a head on it or anything. So what I must have done is the thread was probably stripped. I've tapped it, and I think it's imperial, but it could be metric. Well, I know it's imperial because I'm able to get at it with a 5/16 head, so it's an imperial thread. It's just threaded through. So I've probably put that on there with like half a pound of gasket sealant. So when I undo that to drain the oil out of the gearbox, I'm going to have to clean it thoroughly and then smear it with gasket sealant again to get it to seal. Or what I could do is I may buy a shouldered Allen screw and see how it tightens up. I've got a feeling it's not straight or parallel to the machine surface, which is probably why I used a grub screw. But that'll be a thing for me to do. But I was going to try and put the exhaust back on, but when you put the collector box on, it goes. Well, when you get the collector box on, the gearbox oil will drip right all over it. So we won't be doing that. Well, we won't be doing that yet. Let's just get that right. So I'm going to clean off a little bit. There you go, that's good enough. Now I'm going to clean off better than that, and then we'll unwind that and then drain the gearbox oil prior to me being able to get the kickstart off and then the cover off. Because hopefully my gaskets and seals will be coming shortly. Let me see, I don't know how visible that'll be, but here it comes. Yeah, and that's gearbox oil. So there it is, it was just a threaded plug. Hasn't got a magnet on it or anything. But now, gearbox oil. So we'll leave that. Quite therapeutic about watching it go down. It looks clean though, look at that. And I clearly haven't drained it much because getting that out would have been a complete pain in the rear. So some very clean, good looking, which is great. I should be really happy there's no bits of metal floating about in that. So some really nice EP90 going in the pan, more oil to recycle. So this is interesting. I'm trying to get the cotter pin off and there's no way it's going to come off easily. So I'm giving it a bit of a biff, but in tapping it out, this has come out, which just probably explains why it's still, you know, it's leaking a bit. The seal and all that stuff is clearly knackered, so I'm gonna have to get this off. Hopefully I can get this cotter pin out. It looks fairly well in there, although it's a bit loose now on the kickstart shaft. It should come out. I don't really want to try and get heat on it because that'll ruin the chrome. Could use the hot air gun, I suppose. Try and warm it up, but it's steel and steel, so there's no, I don't know what that would do apart from getting it hot. But you know, maybe that's an option. The worst thing I could do, I think it's relatively soft. I could punch it and start trying to drill it out and weaken it that way, but that's just going to be, that'll be a nightmare actually. I don't think that's the way out. Maybe I'll try some heat. Okay, I've removed all the screws, removed the clutch cable, and I think what I just need to do is lessen the kickstart tension off, and this should come on babe, you can do it, straight out-ish. There we go. So that is the right, I should be able to pull the kickstart spindle off. There's a little bit of wear in there, but there we go. Now what I can do is I can let that just drip, and what I want to do is get this in the bench or get it in the vise and try and thump that out a little bit more directly rather than trying to do it at an angle, which is what I've been doing. So as that's oozing a lot of oil now, I'll grab a couple of old rags, wipe my fingers, trying to get too much oil on the camera, turn you off. Oh, it's recording still. I thought I turned it off. Well, okay, as it's still recording, self-indulgent chain guard finished. Should be able to see my, maybe you can't. There's my two fingers, giving it the two fingers, which you'll see from behind, and the chain guard is in black. That'll do. The chain guard as such, the rod that doesn't really do much. But there you go, that's it. So I'm delighted with that. I will slowly pull this apart. I think the kickstart quadrant, I'll have to look. What I really need to do is get this support this somehow and then biff that out so I don't damage the case at all. So I'll work on how best to hold that, because as you can see I've already sort of given it a few wallops and it's not moved. So that is a bit of an issue that I'm going to have to resolve. Anyway, let's try and really turn it off this time. So the gearbox cover's off, giving it a little bit of a clean out. There's a little bit of metallic sludge in here, nothing major, which is lovely. No major issues to report. Let's have a look at the cover. Cover is here. You can see the clutch mechanism inside. Those of you who don't know on British bike, there's a ball under each. This is how the cable pulls, and this rises up on the ramp, and that's how you get the clutch actuation. Selector mechanism, kickstart spring, or kickstart quadrant and the spring, all in relatively good condition. Kickstart is good as well, and the bush on this side and the seal, which is kind of like it's an X-ring that just presses in there. I may have to put some kind of sealer on that when I put it back in, because it went in really easy. And I think my other issue is that this bush that the kickstart quadrant rotates on is kind of old and worn. And it looks like had a bit of there's a couple of teeth marks on it, so I don't know whether someone's tried to pull it out or not. Don't know whether it's been repaired. Oh, is that a weld? Oh, someone's welded it, look. There's a really bad aluminum weld. So that has been repaired. Interesting. Well, it is my plan to get this hot and drive this out. So I will do that at some point, because this shaft there's a fair amount of play on it. Yeah, you can't really see that, but there you can. There's a fair amount of play, which does not give the seal a decent opportunity to seal against. So what I'll do is, I've got a new bush on order, so when that comes I'll put it against that shaft and we'll see what that shaft's like. Hopefully, although there is a bit of a groove. Is there a groove there? Not really. It's a bit polished, but hopefully that's not worn. If the shaft's worn, then I may end up just leaking gearbox oil for a while. Obviously, if I had my lathe, I'd make up a new bronze bush or a steel bush myself, but don't have a lathe anymore. And it isn't like it's something I've recently lost. I haven't had one for 26 years, so 25 years? What year is it? 26, 20 years, 26, so it'll be 25 years that I've lived quite happily without a lathe. Would like one, but it kind of almost seems pointless getting one now, but I'm ranting. Oh, and the other project I did finish, did put the new faucet in, single arm, part cold, and the thing that is really wanted is that, with the spray and what have you. So that was a project well done. Anyway, enough of plumbing. I will turn this back on again and start recording when I get the bits that I need to fix the oil leak on the kickstart shaft. So that'll be the next thing. We are back at the Bonneville. Not that really we left, because the last clip I was at the Bonneville, but for me quite a bit of time's gone past. Anyway, I have pushed out the sleeve, which goes there. This is the kickstart sleeve. Sits in there, and as you can see, I mean, I literally pressed it out with I've put the socket back in the toolbox, but pressed it out with the socket. It looks, actually it doesn't look that bad. This whole thing though is somewhat weird, because it looks as though this whole thing has been welded or repaired. I mean, it's been nicely done, but it does look like it's been repaired. Which is interesting. So whether it's completely worn or knackered or whatever, someone's built it up so they can put the sleeve in. Anyway, I've got a new sleeve coming, So that's good. And I'm pleased I was able to get it out without heating it, because that would have probably, I wouldn't have been keen on doing that. Heating the springs would have been a bad idea. So I'm pleased that I was able to do that. Just punched it out with, I might as well show you the socket now. Possibly the only snap-on tool I have. Well, I've got a few, but genuine snap-on. This is a really old snap-on deep socket that, again, got off my dad many years ago. So there we go. Yep, more tools. And I think it came in the same stack as this thing, which is, what is that? That's also snap-on. Wow, look at that. It's a 3/8 long nose as well. So I've got more snap-on stuff than I thought. Of course, you know, it's okay, but it's not like fake on, you know, like the real good stuff. Anyway, now I've pissed off all my American friends by saying I prefer the French spanners to the American ones. I'll end this little clip there.